In this video, we're going to set up two templates using Google Docs for our stencil making. The first one's going to be using an image, and the second one's going to be using words. So to set up your page, do File, Page Setup, change it to Landscape, and then if you want to change your margin sizes over here, you can. This will allow for you to make a little bit of a bigger stencil if you like. So now we are in landscape mode. You drag and drop your image into your canvas, into your paper. To be able to move it around in Google Docs, if you click on the image once and click this wrap text button, that will unlock it so you can move it anywhere on the page. To make it bigger, drag from one of the corner boxes. If you drag from the side boxes, it stretches it out of proportion. And you want the image to take up the majority of your page, but again, remember to leave your safety border. Now we're going to simplify this image and make it more graphic to set it up to be a stencil. Click on the image once and you'll see this image option appear in your toolbar. The first thing I'm going to do is convert this to a black and white image by clicking on Recolor and going down this black and white one here. Okay, now we're in black and white. And now what I'm going to do is up the contrast big time. Whoa, not that much. And up the brightness to try to get this to look more graphic. Oh, there we go. That's looking better. By bringing the brightness down some, you'll see that the lines start to thicken up. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Some of the lines down here I'm going to have to fill in later on with a Sharpie because they disappeared when I made them high contrast. But up here, this is looking really nice. This isn't going to be too bad when we go to the cutout version. So for me, when I'm making my stencil, I'm going to be cutting out everywhere you see that's black because that's where I want my paint to go. And I'm going to leave everything that's white or gray open. Everywhere that's white, remember, you're going to have to bridge these gaps to make sure that those spots, in this case, don't fall out. So I'd have to make a bridge here, maybe here as well, to keep my islands floating. You don't have to worry too much about islands and bridges right at this second, but when you're converting your stencil to be a more graphic image, just keep in mind that if you have a lot of floating spaces, it's going to get a little bit complicated. Let's design some words for our in PowerPrint stencil. We're using Microsoft Word, opening up a new Word document. We're going to extend this page to make it nice and big. I'm going to change my layout orientation to landscape, so I want to hold it horizontally rather than vertically. I'm going to change my margins when I'm doing my words to narrow to give me a little more space to work with. Now I'm going to write my quote, which is peace after revolution. Enter, enter, enter. All right. So I'm going to start by making everything bigger, and then I'm going to play with the font. Highlight, go to home, and then you can either type in a number here, just give a guess. Well, that's giant. You can use one of the defaults. It only goes up to 72-point font. Or you can use these two handy buttons to make it bigger or smaller. I'm going to center my text by clicking this button right here. Okay. All right, I'm going to play around a little bit with different fonts and also the way this looks. I'm going to uncapitalize the word after and make it a little bit smaller. I'm going to choose a bold, simple font for the words peace and revolution. This is going to help to emphasize them and make them seem really strong, but it's also going to make the stencil making a little bit easier since these letters aren't too complicated. I want to try making after a script font. We're going to see how it goes, although it might be a little complex, still give it a shot. I'm going to adjust my words to make them fit on the page and use as much of the page as possible while still keeping that safety border in mind. Now I'm ready to print and add bridges.